They still seek to try and bring people into either the Catholic or the Eastern Orthodox religion, but there also are some pretty significant differences that very much divide these two, right? Where they wouldn't get along, and beyond the Pope having authority, some other basic things as well. All righty. So, sadly, Charlemagne eventually does pass away, right? We cannot live forever. So, the father of Europe dies, and before he dies, he does leave the empire that he had expanded, taken over much of Europe. He does leave the empire to one of his sons. And so, we're going to watch this video is less than 2 minutes. It talks about the Treaty of Verdun, which is what happens to the empire that Charlemagne built after he passes away. So here we go.
One of the biggest issues with creating huge empires is that when a great emperor dies and his descendants are left, there is always an issue with who is going to be the next emperor. So Charlemagne, he is going to die in 814, and his only surviving son is Louis the Pious, and he will become emperor of the kingdom. Louis, however, when he dies, he's going to break with the Frankish tradition of equally dividing his empire. He is not going to divide it equally among his sons. He's going to name his oldest son to be the sole emperor, and his oldest son was named Lothair. And so he was going to be the emperor, and this is going to create a war among his sons, which resulted in the Pope getting involved. And the Pope is going to declare that he had crowned only one Holy Roman Emperor, no more, no less, and this is going to stop the war. The Pope's declaration allows Lothair to be the Holy Roman Emperor. Unfortunately, the civil war is only going to stop briefly because Charlemagne's two grandsons did not agree with the Pope's decision. So 3 years after the death of Louis the Pious in 843, there is going to be a treaty that is written. It's called the Treaty of Verdun, and it is going to take the giant empire that Charlemagne had created and divide it into 3 parts, which is going to restore peace within the region.
All right. So, just like that video describes, right? Charlemagne passes away. He passes his rule and his power as the Holy Roman Emperor to his son Louis. And Louis is then going to pass it to his eldest son before he passes away. But he had multiple sons, right? So Lothair got the empire and got the position as Holy Roman Emperor, but his 2 other sons were very upset, caused a conflict, caused a war. The Pope steps in, which again, like going back to Stanley's point, why is the Pope getting involved? I mean, I guess, right, it does have to deal with the Holy Roman Emperor position. But this is where it gets messy, right? Like religion and politics should never collide. But the Pope steps in, really kind of lays down the law, tells these boys that like Lothair is going to be the single emperor. And eventually this treaty does divide what was Charlemagne's huge empire into 3 separate sections for the 3 children of Louis, so Charlemagne's grandsons. How do you think Charlemagne feels? He has passed away and he sees that his empire is now divided. What do you guys think he's probably feeling?
Disappointed.
Yeah. Why would he be disappointed?
I guess he wanted just one big like empire.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like Charlemagne worked so hard to create this kingdom of the Franks. He expanded the empire over his like 30 plus years as the ruler. He was named the Holy Roman Emperor. He had such influence, and that influence really could have continued down to his family, and it did for one generation, but then his grandsons were not happy, right? So instead of uniting Europe, this treaty unfortunately further divides it. It divides this kingdom that was once one into 3. And obviously, that anytime there's division, that can create conflict and issues as time goes on. All right. Any questions about kind of Charlemagne, his influence, any of that? As much as it was back then during the Middle Ages. Okay. This is just for funsies, just review. So the Middle Ages begins with what group of people largely conquering Europe? Is it Roman, Germanic, or Russian? It is Germanic. Remember, the Roman Empire falls and the Germanic people come down and conquer. And that's really what starts the Middle Ages. All right, what was the largest Germanic tribe in Europe? Was it the Saxons, the Franks, or the Vikings? Yeah, good job. It was the Franks. Also, P.S. I've just hidden your names, so nobody will know. Who was the first official king of the Franks? Clovis, Charlemagne, or Pepin? Yes, Clovis was the first official king of the Franks, the first king of the Middle Ages. In the Battle of Tours, the Germanic Franks beat the what group of people were trying to spread into Europe, specifically their religion? It was Muslims. Remember, they were trying to spread the Islamic faith into much of Europe. Who is known as the father of Europe? Clovis, Charlemagne, or Pepin? Yeah, good. The father of Europe is Charlemagne. He had pretty significant influence.